Welcome to the Infinite Evolution Podcast, where you'll receive keys and codes to help you unlock your next level of joy, radiance, health, wealth, intuition, embodiment, and soul purpose. This is a space for lightworkers, healers, spiritual entrepreneurs, and anyone who wants to share their soul gifts with the world. We'll be exploring personal, spiritual, and professional growth and ascension through both the esoteric and magical and the tangible and practical. I'm Casey Aileen Knight, coach, mentor, as well as divine channel and soul gift activator. I founded the Luminous Evolution brand to help you elevate your business and beingness and light up the world. So glad you're here. Let's dive in. Let's talk about being magnetic and in that energy of effortless attraction. Whether you're a soulpreneur, a healer, a coach, a teacher, a light worker who is wanting to attract clients, more money, opportunities, and things like that, or you are a human who is looking to be magnetic and attract relationships, job opportunities, fun, miracles, synchronicities. This is going to be relevant and applicable for you. Being magnetic is one of the beautiful expressions of you being in your true power and authenticity. Authenticity is the highest frequency. They say even higher than love. I personally have a feeling, though, that they're talking about romantic love as opposed to divine love, which is the most authentic expression of the ultimate reality. So it's really one and the same. But being magnetic is not an easy task to get to. It's not an easy thing to be, although once you are there, it's full of effortless ease. And the reason why it's not easy for us as adults is basically just because it's been beaten out of us by life. Children are effortlessly authentic until they are programmed or traumatized to not be. They're told and modeled to be, good according to society's standards, to fit in. And there's so many programs that we start running for safety, to keep us safe, that we start masking and hiding our true self, our true authentic expression. And it's really a journey to come back to a place of feeling safe enough to be authentically ourselves. And when we are authentically ourselves and we're not hiding behind the shoulds and the ideal presentation of who we, believe other people want us to be, and we're actually just truly ourselves in integrity, then that is going to be magnetic AF. Not to everybody. Well, actually, no, to everybody. But the thing that we forget is that magnets have two poles. One is going to attract, but the other one repels. It pushes things away. And I feel like that's a conversation we need to have, because most people that want to be magnetic, they want to magnetize in their soul family and abundance and opportunities. We have that desire, but we don't feel safe enough to be the whole expression of the magnet, which is also repellent. We feel unsafe to push people away, whether it's the people pleaser in us or the recovering perfectionist. We get scared to be so boldly, authentically us in a way that other people are going to be like, ew, that's not for me, or yuck, that's weird, or whoa, they're too much. That's the thing. Even as kids, we have that magnetism where, we attract friends easily and we can like push other people away, and it is pretty effortless and flow. But then we start to realize that when we push people away, we might not magnetize in others like right away. Sometimes there's a lag effect, right? Where we don't actually find our people right away. And that doesn't feel safe, especially when those people we might be pushing away by being our authentic self might be the very people that are supposed to take care of us. And our lives literally as children depend on the people who are taking care of us, whether that's a parent, a grandparent, or like teachers and things like that. So the ego, who is tasked with trying to make sure we survive at basically any cost, starts to water us down. We start to realize that in order to survive, we need to fit in. We don't want to stand out. And it's unless we are absolutely, enveloped and supported by people who will allow us to be ourselves no matter what, we just fear that energy of being ostracized or worse, right? Or actually neglected or exiled from situations, from families. It's from this lifetime, right? Where we're told as kids, we need to fit in, we need to be good or we're going to go to detention. You'll have to go to the office or we'll be exiled from friend groups and things like that. But it's also sometimes from past life experience and the collective ancestral history that we all run where, if you were exiled, you died or lived a miserable death alone until you died. Our survival was predicated on being part of a group. We are a social species. And so fitting in becomes this defense mechanism and trauma response. And most of us aren't consciously aware of all of that. We have just fit ourselves into neat little boxes to be more palatable and acceptable, even if, like me, you were always okay being on the fringes and you didn't want to be, popular, and you were happy to float around between different friend groups collecting randoms, and you created your own circle of people, and you were okay being weird, you accepted that. There's still an element of wanting to make sure you are safe enough. So I know for me, and I can only really speak to my personal journey and that of what I've witnessed in my clients and my friends and my students, I hid my magic and I hid the weirder parts of myself because it did not feel safe to share them. I was born a mystic. I always had a connection to the divine. I had mystical experiences, fully immersive visions and prophecies, and being guided by spirit and seeing ghosts and talking to angels and aliens and ascended masters, through my childhood. I didn't tell anybody about that stuff. I had soul memories of other lifetimes on Earth and in other places. I didn't tell anybody about that stuff. I realized that would make me sound like a crazy person. And back in the 80s and 90s when I was growing up, they did not, really accept crazy people the way we might now, and the range of what is considered weird and crazy is a lot different now. Back then, Mulder in the X-Files was considered cuckoo for believing in aliens. Now everybody's like, well, yeah, there's maybe the Fermi paradox and we're not going to meet them, but I'm sure they're out there. It would just be weird if they weren't. So I hid so much of my magic. I was still the weird kid. I was still on the outside circles, but I didn't share my innermost workings. I didn't share my weird, magnetic, wonderful woo stuff very publicly at all. But I thought I was an open book because I would tell anybody who asked, and if they felt safe, I would happily share all that stuff. But I wasn't being my fullest expression of myself. So a lot of the friends and communities that I was really, in, amazing people, I had some amazing friends and amazing experiences that I needed to have. But those people didn't always really know the true, real me. And ultimately, there would come a time when I would, feel safe enough to fully express myself. And then, I'd wind up losing a friendship, or people would be like, oh, you're kind of weirder than I thought you were. You're not who I thought you were. And that process went on for a while until I really decided that I needed to go all in on being more fully expressed and authentic. And I started sharing more. I started sharing actually 30 days worth of content in an Expose Your Truth challenge with a marketer called Juliana Garcia. And I started posting on Facebook with these prompts, things I had never told anyone back in 2019. And I was terrified. I had this feeling in my body and soul that I was going to be like burnt at the stake. I was going to be stoned. I was going to, not high, but like stoned to death. I was going to be exiled. I was afraid I was going to be rejected and people were going to come for me with their pitchforks. That didn't actually happen, interestingly. I actually got nothing but support when I started sharing my experience with some of the more weird, wild, wonderful, freaky, mystical stuff. Sharing my stories about talking with angels and aliens and things like that, and gods and goddesses and the divine itself. I got a lot of support. But around that same time in my personal life, I started to realize I didn't have the same kinds of like close friendships and companionships that maybe I had in the past. And there was this time where it felt like the more authentic I was getting, the more space it was creating in my life. There was this delayed effect where my authenticity was like clearing things out, clearing people out that were not actually aligned with my frequency and they weren't resonant with it. But then what started to happen is the people who really could feel my frequency and who did resonate with the truth of my being started to come in and find me. And it just really, really exploded. Actually, the week that everything shut down for me during COVID, I had this feeling, and I had been prepared for COVID. You may or may not have heard that story about how Spirit told me to bring my business online because I was previously all in person teaching movement arts and healing with dancing into being my business and being a teaching artist. But Spirit was like, you gotta be available and online for people who are going to undergo a spiritual acceleration. And I realized when my in-person work shut down, the schools I was teaching dance and gymnastics and hula hooping at, it all ended in March of 2020, suddenly, without very much warning at all. I decided to go on Facebook and transmit to people the feeling that I had deep inside, that this was going to be a challenge, but everything was ultimately going to be okay. And I knew that I couldn't express it fully in my native tongue, English, right? I certainly couldn't do it in French. But I knew that if I spoke from my soul, people, not everyone, but some people would feel it. So I went on live and I did these light language transmissions with my soul voice. When I speak it, it transmits codes of divine love and it helps people feel me, feel the divine presence that flows through me, feel that energy of peace and love and home. Now, that changed my life. I was going up there with no agenda, just an authentic expression of like, I want people to feel what I'm feeling right now. I want to share with them. And I had no idea that would book out my client calendar and magnetize in all of these souls to me who were like, oh, wow, what do you do? Who are you? I know I need to work with you. What even is this? But at the same time, me just sharing my soul voice in what sounds like gibberish or like jazz scat, light language, soul frequency language, where I'm going, sending these transmissions and waves of energy. Like that also did the other side of the magnet. It just didn't just magnetize in people. I am sure, though I didn't check, I didn't look, I'm sure people unfollowed me. I am sure I weirded a bunch of people out. I know that I lost old, friends from high school on there who were just like, what is this chick doing? At the time I had blue hair, which felt very authentic to me. And I was just going up and I was just sharing my truth. And it, like I said, was life-changing. My business exploded. And I have had a variety of experiences over the last 6 years, really, since I started expressing my truth, where I realized, I'm still holding back. I'm still afraid to say this. I'm still holding my tongue, biting back the words that I actually want to say. Like, it's not like I just suddenly was like, I am authentically expressed and I'm fully magnetic and in that authenticity. No, it has been a journey. Of course it has, because everything is. And there's all these levels and layers to it. But when I started speaking my truth, whether it was in light language or in more of my content and copy, I started having people, clients, opportunities, friendships, literally magically appear in my life. People just sliding into my inbox and being like, oh my gosh, hey, how can we work together? Because it's something that people feel. People are energetically sensitive, especially your people. They're energetically sensitive and they can feel if someone or something is resonant. And if there is a level of authenticity, there's going to be this magnetism that draws people in, just like magic or physics, quantum physics, you know what I mean? Or just like regular, that's actually classical physics, right? Magnets, they repel and attract, and we know why. Could I tell you exactly why on the science side right now? No, I would have to review that. We're not going into that. But it feels just like magic. And the more authentically expressed I am, the more magical it feels, the more money I make, the more people show up and they will invite me just randomly. Hey, come speak on my podcast. Come speak on my summit. Could you be a guest speaker? Could you come and teach in my membership? The opportunities are just infinite and it just keeps getting better and better and better. There was a time though, about 3 years into my online entrepreneurial journey, 2 or 3, where I started to buy into the messaging movement, where people were very much into selling messaging courses, saying you needed to know the ways of speaking to your ideal clients in ways that they can feel you and find you. And I love researching and I love learning, and I know I'm here to be of service. And I was like, I don't want to learn this. It bores me. The psychographic information and the templates and the structures. And I'm like, I'm afraid. I literally said to Nicole, who is my inspiration coordinator and bestie, I'm afraid learning this stuff is going to take me out of my magnetism. But I was like, I got to do it. I got to do it because I have such a deep devotion to my mission. I need to bring my voice to the masses. I know I'm here to make this massive impact. I have codes to share. I have an evolutionary codex. I have to bring this out further. So I need to learn how to do that. And so I did. And I dove in and I started to learn all of this stuff, all of the rules and the structures and the templates. And it absolutely did make me less authentic and way, way less magical. I was actually really hindered by it. My income actually dropped for a while. And I didn't get excited about it. I felt like I was just in this energy of forcing. Until I started to really embody it and it started to come more naturally. And I realized, as always, I'm here to alchemize things. I'm here to learn and grow and take what resonates and bring it in and leave the rest behind. And actually, I'm so grateful that I did study more of that messaging stuff. And I did actually take years, I'm telling you years, to master my craft. And I'm still in that mastery path. I'm absolutely by no means there yet, but to really step onto the mastery path of honing my ability to communicate clearly. Because for a while, let's say back in 2019, 2020, I would speak about spiritual concepts to people and they would look at me with like deer in the headlights energy and they would go, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I would look at them and say, but you do know what I'm talking about. Like I can feel your body, your soul, it's resonating. They're like, yeah, it feels good, but I don't know what you're talking about. And so then I went on this journey to actually learn how to explain it in the simplest terms to anyone. And that was super helpful. And then I realized I was actually simplifying it too far. And then it was no longer magnetic to my people because actually the people that I'm here to serve, the people that I am here to guide and to teach and to share, they're not beginners. They actually are also on the mastery path. They are healers. They've got tons of education. And when it's simplified too far, then people just don't feel that resonance either. So I have been learning how to dance in this energy of authenticity, but also bringing in the structure and the support and the psychology and the understanding that has been built by, all of this study that we have done and weaving it into my own authentic expression because I am an and also girly. I am not it's this way only. I think we need the structure and the flow, the masculine and the feminine, the yin and the yang. So the and also is so key for what we're here to do as a magnet, right? In our authenticity, we are going to be both magnetic through the unleashing our most authentic, weird, wild, and wonderful side. And also, we are going to be repelling people. And we have to be cool with that. We have to actually create the internal safety for ourselves to feel like it's okay if people don't like you. It's okay if people think you're weird, crazy, and not for them. Right? We have to really shift the beliefs that were created when we were little or from past lives where we're not going to be safe if we are not understood or if we don't, water ourselves down so we're palatable. We have to create the internal safety in our nervous system, in the subconscious mind and our thoughts and all of that we're running underneath the surface. We have to create that safety within ourselves so that if people don't like us, it doesn't matter. We're adults now. And we're adults now, and most of us are living in places where it is safe to just speak our truth. And, some people might throw rocks at you or troll you on the internet, but they're not coming to, burn you at the stake. And if you are in a place where that is still happening, I am so sorry, and that is not cool. But I am mostly speaking right now to people who are in this space where their next level of impact and income and magic and fun and freedom and flow are going to come through that authentic expression of being fully ourselves without holding back the weirdest parts. Because here's the thing, the stuff that people are going to hate you for, that they say is so cringy and weird and wrong and bad and yuck, it's the literal exact same stuff that your people are going to love you for. The stuff that they're going to eat up and say, oh my gosh, she matches my freak. Where have you been all my life? So when we water ourselves down and we don't share the freaky, kinky, weird, wild, wonderful sides of us, the fullness of our personality and expression, our people can't find us because they can't feel us. They're not feeling the real us. And the people we're drawing into our life aren't actual good energetic matches, So Your clients will get better results if you're authentic, because you're going to be pulling in clients that are actually going to vibe with you. The romantic partners and friendships too, so they're never going to get to a place where they go, you're not who you think you were, or, you're not who I thought you were, because you are exactly who you are. And that's not to say that people can't misunderstand you and project upon you and everything like that. I've got a 5-line in human design, so I absolutely understand how people can misunderstand us. And that's totally fine, because I have finally, and this took me a long time, created enough internal safety where it does not matter if I am misunderstood, because I am so solid in my conviction of who I am and what I am here to share with the world in that infinitely evolving expression of my divine light and truth and sacred geometry, that it doesn't matter to me if somebody's like, ugh, that's not true. And I'm like, well, that's maybe not for you, but it's a truth for me. And being magnetic it really requires that structure and that safety and that holding yourself through the processes of being rejected for who you are, so you can be chosen for who you are, so you can be appreciated for who you are. It's a both and also kind of thing. And it is your most wonderful, magical opportunity. So lean in to the most weird, magical, wonderful expressions of your truth, but not just willy-nilly, not in a way that feels super unsafe. You get to practice slowly, create the safety for yourself first, and then expand and grow from there, just knowing that it is ever evolving, and it is going to shift and change your life like magic. When you are in that frequency of authenticity, the right opportunities will find you. They will find you, and you will be like, I didn't even know I was looking for this. And you can just dare the universe to show you how much better it can get. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe and share this out to people that need to hear it. Tag us on social media. You can find us at The Luminous Evolution on Instagram. And keep the conversation going by joining my free sacred community, Luminous Evolution, on Facebook, and get a taste of my favorite tools and techniques inside my free Frequency Upgrade Academy. You can also join me inside my membership, mastermind, certification programs, or private coaching to be deeply supported on your evolutionary journey. Make sure to check out the links in the show notes, and cheers to your infinite, luminous evolution.